Your goal is to hit a clean volley winner at the net, but every time you approach and try to finish, the ball floats out long. It's incredibly frustrating. You've done the hard work to get to the net, but instead, you end up giving the point away. What we want is that clean sensation of catching the ball out in front, where you feel complete, effortless control over exactly where it lands. Today's focus: keeping the racket beside your head. Let's get started. Now, you probably heard coaches tell you 1,000 times to keep your takeback short, but in my experience, just telling players to keep their takeback small doesn't work, especially when it comes to a fast ball or match play. We have to know exactly where to set the frame. If you want to eliminate the floating volley entirely, your racket needs to sit right beside your head, safely within your field of view. If the racket stays in front of that imaginary wall, it's going to help you hit the ball with total control. Let's break this down into 3 simple steps so you can use on court this week to lock that compact feeling right into your muscle memory. Step 1 is what I call the shadow freeze. Stand in your volley ready position without the ball. From your ready position, set your racket beside your head and execute a short forward punch, freezing the frame precisely at your point of contact. What you're doing here is a pure physical action, moving your hand so it finishes about 45 degrees in front of your body line. It is really important to make contact in front of your body for full control over your shot. Any contact beside or behind your head will lead to that floaty volley again. Repeat this 20 times and focus on where your racket head should be throughout this exercise. Step 2 uses an incredibly simple everyday tool to fix your spacing: the court fence. Stand with your heels and your back completely flat against the fence behind you, and practice your takeback. The physical action here is using the solid fence behind you to literally block your racket from leaking backward. If you try to execute a giant baseline swing, the fence will physically stop it. The internal feedback cue you're chasing here is feeling of compact tightness. You should feel your racket staying right beside your head. Now try some more shadow swings without the fence behind you. During the takeback, you should always be able to see your racket beside you. If your racket goes out of your sight, it is still a bit too big. Go back and try to fence shadow swings for another 20 reps. If this kind of clear, step-by-step breakdown is useful to you, hitting subscribe means you won't miss similar videos in the future. Step 3 is where we bring in a live rally or feeding. Have a partner feed you decent pace balls from the opposite baseline. Your physical action is to execute a compact takeback and forward punch rather than a whole arm swing, focusing entirely on meeting the ball 45 degrees in front. You should be able to see the contact clearly. The internal feel you want to experience is a firm push by your racket. If you still feel like the ball is pushing your racket back, watch your takeback. The takeback tends to be bigger than you think when you're focused on rallies. Right from your ready position, make sure to leave extra space between your elbow and your upper body. Setting this gap early naturally forces a compact takeback and prevents your arm from leaking too far behind you when the ball is fed. If you don't have a hitting partner, you can definitely practice this with a ball machine completely on your own schedule. If you don't have one yet, I have posted a link to the AceMate ball machine in the description box below. If you're interested, check it out. Now, there's a massive trap you need to watch out for when you move into actual match play. I call it the match play syndrome. When you're just practicing with your partner or a ball machine, your brain is perfectly calm. But the moment it comes to a real match, your brain tells you to smack every single shot back at the opponent. This is incredibly common among weakened players. Because you're trying to hit harder and harder, your brain unconsciously makes your takeback bigger and bigger, causing massive delays at contact. Now you might be thinking, but Rue, if I don't pull my racket back, how am I supposed to get any pace on the ball? At the net, your opponent has already done heavy lifting for you. The ball already has pace. Your only job is to redirect that energy. If the ball is floating and lacks pace, do not compensate by swinging your arm. Instead, keep your takeback compact and use your feet to move your body closer to the ball. Your feet generate the positioning. Your hands simply direct the collision. When you lock the racket beside your head, you aren't sacrificing power. You're capturing it. Instead of a long, wild swing that relies on perfect split-second timing, you're using a compact forward punch. Here's a perfect example of what a compact takeback actually looks like under intense match pressure. Take a look at Grigor Dimitrov approaching the net and finishing with a crisp volley. Pay close attention to how incredibly small his takeback is as he moves forward. He doesn't pull the frame behind his shoulder line at all. It's almost as if he's simply setting his racket out in front rather than taking it back. That is the exact discipline we're chasing. When your takeback is too big, you create a massive, unnecessary distance that the racket has to travel just to meet the ball. Because you have so much ground to cover, you run out of time. Your racket ends up striking the ball mid-swing while the string bat is still tilting upward toward the sky. While this timing error happens on the ground strokes too, it is incredibly common on the volley because you're catching a ball moving through the air without a bounce to slow it down. You simply don't have the time for a long journey. When you look at these two movements side by side, the difference is night and day. The giant swing on the left looks powerful, but leaves you completely exposed to the ball's speed. The compact position on the right looks minimal, but it gives you total command over the collision. Imagine stepping onto the court for your next big match and facing that exact same floating ball. When you make a contact, you would feel a sensation of the ball striking right in the middle of the strings, redirecting 100% energy to the ball. The feeling of watching the ball crisp cleanly off your strings and drop into the open corner, completely out of your opponent's reach, is pure satisfaction. That is the moment you realize you finally own the net. Now make sure to save this video to your library right now. That way you can easily pull it up on your phone to remind yourself of this compact, disciplined shape during your next weekend warm-up before you step onto the court for a match. See you in the next lap session.